What's up, Archive? We're getting back in the book. Day 3 in a row of reading. I have the timer going up right now. It's time to get into this. I think the best framing is also here, but I also think the best framing is not giving a fuck because this is the archive. Doesn't matter how things look. Doesn't matter what's on my whiteboard. But we gonna do this. We gonna do this anyways. Yeah. All right. Look at us, just getting a good reading. You and me. Damn, I'm looking so good today. All right. Chapter 2. Where the wild things are. Time to get serious. Pride and fear and the center of the universe. Alright. We Western people are apt to think that our great problems are external, environmental. We are not skilled in the inner life, where the real roots for problems lie. The outer distractions of our interests reflect an inner lack. The outer distractions of our interests reflect an inner lack of integration of our own lives. We are trying to be several selves at once without all of ourselves being organized by a single mastering life within us. For most, it was a quote, by the way, by R. Kelly. Thomas R. Kelly, sorry. For most people, it starts when you're a kid, probably sometime in grade school. You attempt to do something you love. Perhaps you're skilled at kickball, or you play a mean recorder. I played a mean recorder. And one day something changes. You start to think about it. Your mind starts to butt in. Maybe you're a basketball player about to shoot a free throw with the game on the line. And previously, you would have just been focused on it and nailed it. But this time, rather than just going through your routine, you think, I've got to make this. That little switch in perspective is the beginning of a lifelong battle. You go from enjoying the moment to having to succeed. Your heart on one side, the ego on the other. It's funny, with reading a book like this, I was pretty deep. I was pretty good in my routine. When I was at work today, I was just I was overthinking everything. And either it was already there and it just brought it to conscious, or because I'm reading this book and it's talking about it, now I'm thinking more about it. I'm not saying I did a bad job today, but could have done better. I did. Or was aware of those things. Damn, just so ripped. Anyways, in our consumer-oriented, social media-obsessed society, thousands of claims on our attention come at us every day, bombarding us from the moment we wake up until the moment we sleep. We have more technology, more time savers, and less time. This barrage of distractions takes our thoughts in endless directions. We are constantly preoccupied, mostly thinking about ourselves. This saps our energy and distances us from our goals, and ironically from ourselves in the process. Our thoughts become obstacles. That's a bar. That's a bar right there. Our thoughts affect our very lives. Whether we're focused or scattered, successful or unsuccessful, fulfilled or frustrated, depends on how we respond to our thoughts. Every performance we'll ever take part in will largely be shaped by this battle in the mind. We spend most of our lives with a mind doing what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. We spend most of our lives with a mind doing what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. Not unlike a spoiled child. Not unlike a spoiled child? Does that just mean like a spoiled child? Because I agree. Like our bodies, our minds need to be trained, renewed daily, and rested when necessary. We need to let go of our preoccupation with self and all the self-protective, cluttered thoughts it brings. In this chapter, we'll take on the biggest obstacle you'll ever face, your mind, or more precisely, the part of your mind that is constantly comparing and judging, always threatened, but never satisfied. The ego. The root cause of fear. Self-centeredness. In my experience as a professional athlete and coach to the world-class performance, I've found that fear stifles our freedom and hurts our performance more than anything else. Fear stifles our performance. Fear stifles our freedom and hurts our performance more than anything else. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. Fear, however, is only the symptom of a more complex issue. Fear of failure, fear of rejection. I'm thinking about fear of rejection in my day-to-day with sales. There's certain types of prospects or clients that you'll run into, and sometimes I have to pitch these people, and sometimes when I do it, I'll be like, "Hey, you want to buy?" No? Okay. In those instances, it's I pitch them because I have to pitch, but also it's what if I just did take it more seriously and I did put more effort in? Would I be more fearful about getting rejected then? Or does me actually keeping it lighthearted and going, "Want to join?" help? It seems more context dependent, but in an internal way, by me being more nonchalant, is this me trying to stifle the fear? Is it me trying to confront the fear or deal with it? I don't know. And then there's other parts, if I'm pitching for a training, whether I believe it's there or not, I could do a lot better in confronting the fear of rejection, right? Because sometimes you have to run into it directly. You have to know that you're getting rejected. Some things you will pitch them knowing that they're going to say no in the beginning, and because of that, you get to see the future and pivot off of that. I'm going to keep reading. Fear, however, is only the symptom of a more complex issue. The root of fear is a virus of the heart, self-centeredness. You may not think you're self-centered, but consider this. Is not everything you think, say, and do based on your experiences, your goals, and your beliefs? When you've gotten upset, was it not you or something that was yours that was threatened? Yeah, if I get upset at somebody not doing their job, what's threatened is my control over this person? No. What's threatened is my expectation of this person. What's threatened is somebody's perception of me as holding that role. Yeah, probably. If I think about it long enough, I could relate that. Whether you have a too high view of yourself or too low a view of yourself, both originate from self-centeredness. That creates self-consciousness, isolation, and lack of vision. Self-centeredness shows up early. As newborns, we learn that our cries get rewarded with food and attention, creating a world of cause and effect based on our needs and wants. This inherent survival method stays with us for the rest of our lives, and we never think twice about it until now. Not all newborns, but I guess most, right? Self-centeredness in our discussion is not about selfishness. It's not a moral issue. Rather, it's a preoccupation with ourselves that limits our options and stunts our growth. We all have a mental process for interpreting events in our lives and assigning meaning. Where was I? Where was I? Oh. Self-centeredness in our discussion is not about bro, why did I brain fart? We all have a mental process for interpreting events and assigning meaning. This process looks through a lens of all of our past failures and painful memories. This focus on our past and how we compare to others sets the stage for fears to thrive. Fear is the opposite of love. Is it? Is fear the opposite of love? Or would it just be... Oh, what is it called? I think somebody said like the opposite of love. Or is it like the opposite of... The opposite of hate is just like, not discontentment, but just like total disinterest in something. Anyways. Fear is the opposite of love. It separates you from your true self. Your true self, which we'll explore later, is wholehearted, undivided by the world's temptations and seductions. While love connects and integrates, fear separates and isolates. Fear is focused on self and the future. Fear comes from projecting our past failures into the future. Fear comes from projecting our past failures into the future, seeing more setbacks and uncertainty. Our focus on ourselves and our past failures fuels our fear. Imagine facing a situation similar to one in which you failed in the past, perhaps making a short putt in golf or remembering your lines during the play. Your mind, in an effort to protect you, will remind you of that failure, and this intrusive, negative memory will affect how you perform. Instead of seeing your present situation through fresh eyes as an opportunity to perform, you'll see with anxiety and fear. And this doesn't want you to relive that event, I'm assuming, even though you didn't have to if you didn't think about it. Self-centeredness, of course, is only natural for your entire life. You've only seen the world from your eyes. You haven't seen what I've seen, or whatever anyone else has seen. Not from the same perspective anyways. Moreover, your perspective is skewed based on your perception of what you've seen and experienced. Every experience you've had is compared to similar events from the past, and the meaning your mind assigned to them. The fact is not good or bad, just limiting. Yeah, your perspective is not good or bad, it's just limiting. It's through this biased, limited filter that we see the world, and this filter is dotted with memories of past failures. David Foster Wallace shares more insights. Everything in my own immediate experience supports my deep belief that I am the absolute center of the universe, the realest, most vivid, and important person in existence. We rarely talk about this natural, basic self-centeredness because it is so socially repulsive, but it's pretty much the same for all of us deep down. It is our default setting hardwired into our boards at birth. Think about it. There's no experience that you've had where you were not at the absolute center of it. The world as you experience is right there in front of you, or behind you, or to the left, or to the right of you. On your TV, or your monitor, or wherever. Other people's thoughts and feelings have to be communicated to you somehow, but your own are so immediate, urgent, and real. You get the idea. This isn't a matter of virtue, it's a matter of my choosing to do the work of somehow altering or getting free of my natural hardwired default setting. Which is to be deeply and literally self-centered, to see and interpret everything through this lens of self. End. Attachment to your past and previous failures makes you self-conscious. Dude, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired reading this, bro. I'm getting tired reading this. Let me just bring it down here, all right? Attachment to your past and previous failures makes you self-conscious, concerned about yourself and what others think of you. If you're shooting a free throw under pressure, for example, the task is difficult, not just because of the consequences of missing, but also because of the thought that you would be the one who missed it. And you've certainly missed free throws before. Talk about spitting game, bro. Talk about spitting game. I said that to somebody, they ain't missing anything. They're missing everything. When we become self-conscious, we want to feel better. So what do we typically do? We compare ourselves to others using the 5 measures of worldly success linked to the affluenza virus: possessions, attachment, looks, money, and status. We gauge what we have done and what they have, and what we've done and what they've done. Looks and achievements are especially powerful components of the ego because they're so personal. Inevitably, there is someone who has more success or is better looking, so we want more because our identity is at stake. The affluenza virus grips us. I mean, it does, but also in this day and age, like, to look nice helps in a sales position, in anything. It's like our brains are operated this way to look at pretty things, right? So it doesn't mean you have to be the prettiest person in the world, because you can't be. I'm the prettiest motherfucker in the world. But it doesn't mean that you don't keep up with, like, your appearance, right? Like, trim your mustache, shave on the sides of your face, you know? Pluck an eyebrow that's too long, right? Brush your teeth. Put some muscle on the body, even if it's just for the physique, bro. It's like, these things all do help in terms of an identity. Yeah, that's probably where you might you might lose yourself. The problem isn't the quest for achievement. In fact, this book is about achieving the extraordinary. The problem is placing your security in things that you cannot control. It's just like with winning. The problem isn't winning. Every champion plays to win. The problem arises when the end result overshadows the process and you lose yourself along the way. The problem arises when the end result overshadows the process and you lose yourself along the way. Losing yourself means losing touch with your true self, the one that wants to live and love fully. When we lose ourselves, we have a divided heart. One caught up in trying to please others and be successful in the world's eyes. We're unable to be fully present in the sacred moments of our lives that are sent to teach us lessons and bring us wisdom and beauty. When our identity comes from society-defined measures of success, we become attached to them. Since we can't completely control our goals, we become needy and lose our freedom. Attached to our goals, we get attached to our circumstances or life situations in order to monitor if we are getting closer to or further from our goals. And our circumstances are what we use to measure the distance that we've traveled. I'm like reading this, but I feel like I'm not interpreting it anymore. As we become attached to our circumstances, we need certain things to happen. We also become attached to our thoughts. Doubtful thoughts have more power to influence when we're attached to our circumstances. We'll discuss managing your thoughts later. Frustration and anxiety emerge when what we feel has to happen doesn't happen, right? That's anger. Anger is just meaning that, like, you had a desire, it didn't happen, and you had the expectation that it was supposed to happen. So now you're frustrated. Now you're pissed as a bitch. 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 Anxiety. Anxiety emerges when what we feel has to happen doesn't happen. I guess wanting to feel calm, but we're not calm, right? I feel like that's pretty vague of a definition. The gap widens between how we want to feel and what we are feeling. The doubts move from external, aka I won't achieve my goal, to personal. I'm not able to. The doubts move from external to I won't achieve my goal to personal. I'm not able to identity. I'm a failure. So it's I want to achieve this thing. I'm not able to achieve this thing. I'm a failure. So it goes deeper, right? Unchecked, our dreams get frozen in fear. If you're attached to what you want but cannot control it, frustration or fear is always near. If you're attached to what you want but cannot control it, fear is always near. Self-doubt is a huge challenge, but that too is an offshoot of self-centeredness. Where do doubts originate? Nobody can make you feel inferior, less competent, or less able unless your own mind thinks the thought, accepts it, and affirms it, right? Like if I'm killing it at sales and I miss a sale and somebody's like, so you're not perfect after all. If I agree and I'm like, fuck, I'm not perfect, then I'm gonna get in my head. If I just kind of go, man, I don't give a fuck, I'm on a hot streak. That guy was a one-off, doesn't matter, I'm going to the next one. It's like, I'm denying that. I'm not accepting it, and I am moving forward. So, for example, you have to think, thought, accept it, and affirm it, right? Repeat it over and over again. The neurochemistry, or whatever you want to call it. Doubts are powered by your own thoughts as memories of past failures creep in, making you susceptible to negative influences from outside sources. Every day we wake up with a decision to make. Will we recognize our self-centeredness and take steps away from it and towards fullness of life, or will we by default slide towards insecurity, doubt, and fear? With this choice comes the opportunity for courage to take action despite the fear. We'll see in the chapters to come the amazing moments that await those who bypass the easier, wider, self-centered route and choose the narrow path with the much broader field of vision. Now it's showing you this, right? It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but we'll see, right? So you start with the choice up top. That's going to explain it a little bit. The obsession with self. In our everyday life, our thinking is 99% self-centered. Said by Zen master Shunryu Suzuki. Suzuki, as we see in the figure, self-centeredness leads to self-consciousness, which amplifies the ego. The ego is the greatest component you'll ever face because it limits you to your own five senses and the knowledge derived only from your personal experience, aka it disconnects you from divine information, creativity, faith, God, the universe. This narrow focus excludes the ideas, opportunities, and connections that are possible with a broader vision. When your vision is restricted by your own needs and wants, your main pursuit becomes self-serving. When your vision is restricted by your own needs and wants, your main pursuit becomes self-serving because you can only operate within that vision of your needs and your wants. I think that's what it's saying. I've got about 6 or 7 more minutes. 6, 7. Life moves from learning and growing, giving and receiving. To self-serving, hoarding, and grasping. When the ego is amplified, it wants more validation, so it looks for symbols of success. When the ego is amplified, it wants more validation, so it looks to symbols of success. But there's always someone else who has more success than we do, so we judge them or deliver a negative verdict. In our judgment of others, we start to judge ourselves and feel less than. In our judgment of others, we start to judge ourselves and feel less than, and we get deceived by our own mind. We hear an inner voice that whispers negative judgments about ourselves, ones that say, "Who are you to be great?" or "You're not enough." This part of our mind, the fuel for the ego, is what I've labeled the critic, the monkey mind, and the trickster. We'll get into that in the next chapter. I'm looking forward to that part. I like those chapters. So, The ego gets amplified and turns into pride and fear, both of which steal our joy. In our definition, pride is self-conscious concern for the self. As Oxford scholar C.S. Lewis calls it, unsmiling concentration on the self. Pride is always concerned with how you look, how you compare, or how you're perceived. I guess I do have a lot of pride then, because I care about how other people perceive me, right? In my head, pride is just being proud about something, being like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I'm this type of guy. I take pride in it, right? It's like I take identity. I feel like somebody because of this thing. Or I feel like a better person because of these things. Pride is always concerned with how you look, how you compare, and how you are perceived. 6-7. Here's how Lewis describes pride. Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next person. We say that people are proud of being rich, or proud of being clever, or proud of being good looking, but they're not. They're proud of being richer or cleverer or better looking than others. If everybody else became equally rich or clever or good looking, there would be nothing to be proud about because it would be normal. Only out of having doesn't pride yourself on having something. It's always more than the next person. I mean, proud of being rich, proud of being clever, proud of being good looking. It's like you need a context for all these things too, though. You do need something to compare it to. You compare rich to broke. You compare good looking to bad looking. You compare clever to stupid. Hey, just do it to serve God, right? And our self-conscious concern in our self-conscious concern for self, the ego kicks into high gear to advance itself, but it does the opposite, killing our joy. Dr. Timothy Keller says, pride destroys the ability to have any real pleasure. The ego is always drawing attention to itself. It is incredibly busy trying to fill the emptiness, and it is incredibly busy doing two things in particular, comparing and boasting. The ego tries to fill its emptinesses by comparing itself to other people all the time. It's a bar. So simple. The way the ego tries to fill its emptiness is by comparing itself to other people all the time. That's not the only way. You can also take drugs. Competitiveness is at the very heart of pride. When we are in the presence of someone who is more successful, intelligent, or good-looking than we are, we lose all pleasure in what we had. That is because we really had no pleasure in it. We were proud of it. In context, the brokies you're hanging around, I guess. Perhaps by now you're asking, what about the superstar athletes and CEOs who have out-of-control egos? Well, fear, I believe, the primary obstacle we all face is fear can be incredibly motivating. It is a powerful energy after all. True. The catch is that for most of us, fear stops us from performing with freedom and passion. How can we be fully engaged in the moment when we're constantly comparing ourselves with others and concerned with what they'll think? Damn, I'm falling asleep reading this right now. I got like 1 minute left. Self-centeredness versus self-awareness. I'm not a mess, but a deeply feeling person in a messy world. I explain that now. When someone asks me why I cry so often, I say, for the same reason I laugh so often, because I'm paying attention. I tell them that we can choose to be perfect and admired or to be real and loved. I don't think. sounds like a bad pitch for either of them. Be perfect and admired, or be real and loved. Well, love is better than admiration, so. All right, timer's gonna go off soon. In our discussion, self-centeredness is a trait that blocks our growth with comparison and self-consciousness, frustration and fear. It prevents us from seeing the whole picture and divides our hearts. Self-awareness, in contrast, nurtures our growth by recognizing that we are a part of a greater whole. When we are unattached to them, which enables us, when we're self-aware, we're able to observe thoughts and behaviors. That still scared the fuck out of me. Oh my God, my blood just boiled real quick. I'm gonna finish this last section. When we're self-aware, we're able to observe our thoughts and behaviors, unattached to them, which enables to see our place in the bigger picture, interconnected with others. This is a powerful lens through which we can see clear enough to learn and grow. Self-centeredness is a nearsightedness that can't see beyond our failures and limits. Self-centeredness is a nearsightedness that can't see beyond our own failures and limits. We get filled with limiting thoughts of who we can't be or what we can do. The broader view of self-awareness, however, sees options that aren't limited to our experience or our rational minds. You can see the potential. Self-awareness is the wisdom that knows your rational mind. Self-awareness is the wisdom that knows your true self and vast potential beyond what you are currently able to envision, thus helping view your circumstances objectively as feedback to continually learn and grow. A self-centered person, for example, walks out of a meeting that went badly and tells herself how poor she is as a public speaker and will never be comfortable addressing a group. She looks at her peers and thinks, if only I were more like them, I'd be able to show everyone how good I am to get ahead. She's surprised when her colleague compliments her on something and she said during her presentation. She assumes that the colleague is only being nice and will probably talk about her behind her back. When the next meeting is scheduled, she dreads about walking into the room. Self-centeredness is the veil that covers our ability to see possibilities and disconnects us from others and makes us more self-conscious. Meanwhile, a self-aware person might have come out of the same rough meeting having experienced a similar disappointment in her performance. She looks around and realizes that those who handled the situation better took more time to prepare themselves. She understands that she'll have to do the same to effectively present her ideas. Open to compliments of her colleagues, she uses them to reaffirm her belief that her insightful ideas just require more work on the back end to be received as she intends them. When the next meeting is scheduled, she is confident. The self-aware person sees more options. There is no failure, only feedback. There is no failure, only feedback. All right, that's what I got. As you can tell, probably from my eyes, I'm gonna stop this video. I'm probably lay on the ground for a little bit, hopefully not fall asleep, but it's day 3. I'm trying to process what I read. I also had some food before this, but I'll see you later, Archive. Ciao. Bye-bye.